Doctor Who, a franchise that's run for over 55 years. I'm Oscar, by the way. It was my granddad who introduced me to this franchise, and thanks to him it's never stopped. So I decided to take it upon myself to further explore what it means to be a Whovian. Hold on to your fezzes, this is going to be a gripping adventure through space and time.
For those of you who don't know, Doctor Who is the longest running science fiction show on television. It started in 1963 with William Hartnell absolutely owning the role of the Doctor. Every week, a new adventure in time and space would take place. Alien planets? You bet. Historical shenanigans with the Romans? This show has it all. It has managed to reinvent itself every year with gripping tales of adventure and universal domination. So I decided to take it upon myself to understand why people have stuck with this franchise for so long. I'll be talking to Richard Lloyd, a collector, Marnah Lissiley, an expanded media expert, and Dominic G Martin, a cosplay enthusiast.
But first, let's take a look inside this room. Come on, don't be shy. So, yeah, I'm a massive nerd. This is my Doctor Who collection. Right, so up in the attic we've got a hell of a lot more Doctor Who stuff. Look, we got the Dalek here, we got a box of box action figures here, box of action figures. If there's a fire and I lose all this stuff, well, it's the end.
With that in mind, I thought, what better way to spend an afternoon than talk to a grown man about his plethora of toys made for children.
Wow, this is absolutely insane. How long have you been collecting, Richard? Because it seems to have accumulated to a point.
It certainly has, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been 13 years, since I started. I started, when I became a Doctor Who fan. So it was back with Series 4 of Doctor Who, just before that, really. And the very first thing I got actually was a issue of Doctor Who Adventures magazine.
Okay.
It was issue 56, I think. Yeah, and it just sort of spiraled from there. I got that magazine every week from there on in. I got the figures and stuff, starting with the Utopia gift set with Professor Yana. That was my first figure set.
Yeah.
Classic. And yeah, it's just continued and sort of become more of a sort of serious collecting thing, I suppose, in the last sort of few years, really. Yeah.
And the thing that sets it apart from mine is that it's organised. As in, look into one section and it's like, right, this is that. Yeah. The books are all together, the DVDs are all together.
Yeah, that's it's always been fairly organised, and I've always been a fairly sort of organised person, but it's only sort of when I had this space, which I got a couple of years ago, and sort of just since then that I've properly been able to sort of categorise stuff, and I've made a particular effort, to like have it all in here, to go and get old magazines out of the shed and have them all in one space.
Is it a nostalgia thing that you still collect?
Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah. I'm not going to make any bones about that. It's it is all nostalgia. A lot of it. I mean, obviously I collect the new stuff as well, but a lot of it is the older stuff, from the RCD era when there was so much.
Yeah.
Going back and filling in the figures, the Marathon Time cards, whatever. I suppose it is that sort of synthesis between the old and new. You had some of it as a child, and then you kind of, as an adult, going back and filling in the gaps. And because it's also ingrained into your mind, like all those monsters and characters and episodes and stuff. It is, I suppose, just aspiring to have that all on the shelf, and to look at it and see, a certain episode represented on the shelf with all the figures from that episode is just a nice thing. It's just satisfying.
This certainly has been a bit of a revelation for me, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing all this together is kind of madness. So I really enjoyed that chat with Richard. I certainly learned a lot, and especially why people collect and why people like to display things from their favourite franchise. When it comes to expanded media, how many forms does it take, and what are they all?
Ooh, expanded media. Okay. So what's most promoted is the Big Finish audio dramas.
Okay.
There's also BBC books. There's comics.
What was your first piece of expanded media?
Ooh.
Tough question. See if you can remember.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably the comics in Doctor Who Adventures magazine.
Yeah.
Used to get that so much. They were fun. They didn't quite look like the characters, but they, I guess, gave more adventures. They were simpler stories.
So nowadays, do you have a preference of what expanded media you consume?
Yes, I have a big preference.
Okay.
So Big Finish audios.
Yeah.
That's what I love. I think what makes it, in my opinion, the strongest form of expanded media is the fact that you have the original actors and you have really talented writers as well.
Yeah.
And some of the sound design is very, very good. So it can very easily create the environment. So imagination doesn't have to do that much. Writers really know how to write these characters. They know how to make them stand out. And once you hear them speak, you know exactly who's speaking and what they're going to be like. I think what Big Finish does best is synthesize a sort of style of a Doctor's era. So they can, you know, they can take the Sylvester McCoy era, which was starting to go more in adult places for more adult audiences, or the first Doctor, second Doctor stories, which are they make things very mysterious, and the Doctor sometimes isn't in the story for the whole thing. I'm not sure if the current era has really found its exact style yet.
Okay. Where does one jump on? Since there's thousands and thousands of books and audios and magazines, well, where do you start?
There are starting points, but I think it does depend on which Doctor you want to start with and which Doctor you like the best. What kind of thing are you going for, really? I suppose 100% if you're a fan of the sort of Hartnell era stuff like I am. You know, the more sort of mysterious stuff. I think the Big Finish First Doctor Companion Chronicles are probably my favourite kind of stories. I think you do need to have a bit of knowledge of the TV series of that kind of era, what happened in that era.
So after that talk with Marnah, I definitely got to see why people listen to the expanded media or read it or create things to do with it and stuff like that. It's really an interesting add-on to what you already get already.
My name's Dominic G Martin. I've been a Doctor Who fan for the past, since the revival, so since 2005, that'll be 16 years. It has gotten me into all sorts of things, such as obviously cosplay, and it has contributed to my social circle as well. I've made a lot of friends through Doctor Who, and I've also found a job through Doctor Who because I'm currently a producer with Big Finish.
But when did you start cosplaying?
So I started cosplaying around 2011 or 12 because my mother knitted me a Tom Baker scarf. Okay. So I was like, I might be able to put something together here. So my first ever cosplay outfit, I dragged a red jacket out of my wardrobe, which belonged to my dad, and put that with the scarf. Hey presto, you've got a season 12 Tom Baker outfit.
Yeah.
And after that, I just generally improved it from there. Took it to the Collectomania convention at Milton Keynes and met some other cosplaying people, which was really nice because I found this entire community to get involved in. And that's how really I got started. And just from there on, you just kept on collecting bits and bits, more and more and more. And it just keeps on going on like that. Cosplaying for me is just that form of escapism. It's just so much fun to feel like you're wearing the costume. Well, basically you are wearing the costume of the character, but to feel like you are encapsulating that character in style, it just creates a feeling of coolness. You feel cool. Like dressing up as, say, Tom Baker with the extremely long scarf and the long coat. It's something different. It's not something you can do every day. I mean, you could do it every day, but it's probably not advisable. But it's generally something that is it just creates a whole sense of fantasy, and it really just makes you feel cool. As I said, it makes you feel cool.
What do you think nowadays? What could I pull off? What do you think I could cosplay as right now?
Looking at yourself, I think you'd make a really solid Capaldi.
You think?
You've got the Series 8 hair. I think
nice.
You could rock it. Yeah, you got that nice trim.
I do a decent impression, I like to think, but
there we go. I'm sure you can. Well, if you combine the impression with the costume, I mean, fortunately, the Series 8 costume itself isn't too difficult. You just needed a long navy blue coat and just a white shirt and a waistcoat. It is. Fortunately, one of the easiest Doctor outfits that you can really do.
Do you think you will ever stop? Can you see yourself at 80 years old still dressed up as the Doctor?
I don't know about that. It depends how life takes us. I mean, when you get later in life, you might find less time for it. So it's probably a case of just take each year as it comes. I mean, I'm kind of busy at the moment, but I think it'll probably get to the point where I don't put any new stuff together, but I'll probably just dig out the old stuff and be like, hello, as long as I still fit into it, of course, in the future.
Thank you so much to Dominic for agreeing to do this interview. It was certainly a lot of fun. It certainly brought back memories of me doing cosplays back when I was 11 years old, and I really got that sense of community and that sense of belonging which cosplayers have, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you to everyone who took part in this little documentary. I've learned a lot, and I certainly hope that you have too. I've been Oscar, you've been awesome. Keep watching the stars. Goodbye.